Good evening, Mark from Excel here, and it's an evening wine tasting with, two of us this evening. Shipley Puss, the office cat, joins me this evening, or that's one of his claims to fame. Like me at the moment, he's working from home. Yes, anyway, two tastings this evening, and I'm going to separate them into two different files, so this one isn't too big and long. And they are the other two panel topping Spanish indigenous whites from the May edition of Decanter. Both scored 96 points. One is the one I'm about to taste, which is a white Rioja by Viña Muriel from Bodegas Muriel in Rioja. And the other is from Cadiz. It's a classic barrel fermented Palomino from Andalusia. That's the one we're not tasting here. I'll come back to that in a moment. Both quite stylised, both quite unusual. A little bit Marmite wines, both of them. But if you want to have a look at what this one does, the Valdespino, go and have a look on the other file. That's on the product page. Let's put that out of the way. Okay, white Rioja. Interesting category. Largely misunderstood, not always popular. Very often struggles with the perception that it is quite heavily oaked, which it can be, and quite heavily aged, quite oxidative, quite worn out. And some of the great examples of white Rioja, and probably there's nothing better than Lopez de Heredia's whites. They can be misunderstood. They are seasoned, old, aged wines, and they have a very distinct oxidative, nutty character to them. Some people love them. I'm one of those people, but not everybody gets on with them. This one, it's a 2013, so it's got coming up for 8 years on the clock. And I suppose you begin to expect it to have some quite serious age tones on it. Let's put some in the glass. Let's see where we go with this. As you can tell, I've tried it a bit before and I've partially formed an opinion. Now, these things never come out particularly well when you record them. That is very gold in the glass. There's almost a sort of sauterne, sweet wine depth to that. You look at it, you begin to think, well, either that's had some very seriously heavy oak, or possibly it's come sort of fault with it. It's really deep orange in the glass. Actually, I think that's just the nature of it. You know, it has taken some new oak, and it is just partly the nature of the Rioja grape as well when it ages. So, quite an interesting colour. I mean, I love that kind of colour, the richness, the gold to it. On the nose, I mean, really expressive, really expressive. And you're picking up, the first thing you pick up is definitely some of that oak. There's a vanilla-y hit to it. The nose is very much like you would get with white Burgundy. Some of the bigger white Burgundies, Pouilly Fuissé, for example, some of those warm Macon Village type styles. And also, that's not unlike some of the really quite warm Napa and California Chardonnays on the nose. In fact, I would struggle a little bit, given some of the honey, some of the oak, some of the richness of this wine on the nose, to tell you in the first sniff that it's not a Chardonnay. Glorious on the nose, really nice. But I think it all comes in the mouth. This is what distinguishes the white Rioja. Two or three immediate sensations. One, very ripe, okay? That is ripe fruit. That is stone fruit, definitely. It's apricot, it's nectarines, that kind of ripeness in there. I would say it possibly even edges a bit beyond. You might even be into something with a little bit of imagination like mango. That's really quite ripe fruit. Sugar's in that, definitely down the ripe sort of fructose end. They're not citric. Oak, lovely, really nice. Well balanced, bit of new oak, bit of old oak. Really good vanilla-y balance to it, really lovely. Not over oaked, not thwacked, not hit too hard. Age, definitely got some age on it. There are some age tones on it. There's a nuttiness, there's a warmth to it which has come with that age, a real richness to it. But, and this is the thing to take on board, people, this is important, it is very dry. It is very dry indeed. It's a bit much to say that it's austere on the mouth. Well, that is a very dry wine. On its own, I can see some people struggling with it. I like it, but only just like that. And I think it's quite simple. The residual sugar left in this wine is low. Probably one and a bit grams of residual sugar per litre still left in there, I think. Balanced against it, and this is the thing, very high acidity. It is an acid wine. Given that it's been in the bottle 8 years, you would expect it to soften, to mellow a little bit. It hasn't. It's still a very young, very vibrant wine. I would have expected this, possibly even, typically an 8-year-old Rioja, to be starting, maybe even to fall apart. Anything but. Really lively, really fresh, really expressive and youthful. But that high acid balanced against low sugar kept a very dry feel to it. However, where it comes into its own is with food. I've had this now with omelettes, I've had it with sandwiches, I've had it with all kinds of stuff. And the food absolutely opens it up, makes it really enjoyable, really likeable. And I've no doubts about this one. I think it's absolutely superb. You've got to like white Rioja a little bit. You've got to like oaked wines. If you're an oaked Chardonnay fan, you're going to enjoy this. It's got a bit more acidity to it than most Chardonnays. It's, and I think at the price, I can't think of a good 8-year-old oaked Chardonnay you're going to pick up for £18. There's so much going on in this wine for the money. Difficult to say. Is it better than the Godello? I thought the Godello was pretty special. This is a cracking wine, really good. And I've been testing this for 2 or 3 days now, and it just keeps growing on me. I wasn't entirely sure about that dryness to start with. Really lovely. Give it a go.